Hey everyone, Kyle Erickson here. Today we are looking at another set of wireless earbuds, these being the Padmate PaMu Z1s. They are $69, they have noise cancelling and a whole bunch of features that if you were looking at big name brands, you'd probably have to spend a lot more to get everything that's packed into these. If you have seen the Padmate brand in the wild, it's probably pretty likely that you've come across these on tech accounts on Instagram. There are a few creators that I know that have these, and I've also posted about them there as well. I also made a video about another set of Padmate headphones a while back, so if you've been on the channel for a while, you may remember those, but in a nutshell, this company provides a bunch of different electronics accessories and headphones, and mostly seem to be geared towards the budget market. With that said, the first thing that I want to talk about is when I was unboxing these, I did really appreciate the packaging. Previous sets of Padmate earbuds that I've checked out have been a little bit bland on the branding, but they've clearly put some thought into this go around. Inside the box, you've got your headphones nicely tucked away, and just under those, you've got your standard documentation, different sized ear tips, a charging cable, and a nice little carry pouch if you don't want to scratch up your case. Looking at the actual product, I do want to touch on what sets these apart from your average run-of-the-mill earbuds, and the first thing that I do want to mention is the design. They've made some really interesting design choices. These come in black, gray, white, and blue, although the blue is more of a teal turquoise color. The black model that I have here has a yellow accent around the earbuds, and one of the neat things that they have done is created this band around the case that you can actually swap off and put on different ones with different colors. And you can buy the bands separate from the headphones, and I thought that was just a really creative way to introduce some customization that you really don't see every day. It's just kind of thinking outside of the box a little bit. Sometimes brands with budget offerings will just spit out a copy of something else with no regard to creativity or separating themselves from the competition, so it is really nice to see, and it just shows that they have put some thought into their product. The buds themselves remind me a little bit of Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds looks-wise. They've got a flat area, which is also a touch surface where you have all your playback and Bluetooth controls. They don't have stems, which I am a fan of, and they're really light, weighing in at only 5.7 grams each. You've got a pretty big selection of ear tips for a good fitment, and overall I find them quite comfortable. These are also IPX4 certified, so you can work out with these in, you can wear them in the rain. They just can't be fully submerged, so don't drop these in your coffee. There is a little LED status indicator built into the top of each bud that sits right underneath the plastic, and it's hidden away when it's not lit up, which I really like, and the plastic itself feels solid and durable. I don't get the impression that the buds would be very prone to scratching with this material and the surface texture on them. They sit firmly in the case. You can shake the case with the buds inside and there's no rattle or movement at all. On a lot of budget earbuds, you'll get a bit of noise or some movement there, but these feel really well secured and everything just feels really well built. The case does have a plastic hinge, but by no means is it flimsy, and you've got this clear little tab that sticks out of the side that is illuminated by an LED when you put your buds in the case or when they're charging. Overall, the build quality and the design are great. These stand up really well to even more expensive options, and there are quite a few design choices on these that I like. As far as pairing goes, connecting these is a breeze, and I think that should be something that every set of headphones in this day and age should get right. As soon as I pop open the lid and pull these out, they go into pairing mode, and from there you can easily pair these to your phone or your laptop or whatever it is that you're using these with. They have Bluetooth 5.2, and the range is great for wireless earbuds. I was able to have these paired with my iPhone and leave it in the basement, and I could move anywhere in my house with no connection drops or cutting out, which is pretty rare. Latency is really good. There's no noticeable lag in audio. You can watch videos, and I think you could potentially game with these as well. I've used these mostly for listening to music, and I would say the primary use for these and what they're made for is just your average person who is casually listening to music or consuming content. As far as sound quality goes, for budget earbuds, they do put out pretty good audio. If you just have these on in the background when you're working or you're commuting, they'll likely be more than enough quality-wise. I don't find the bass too muddy or overpowering like you see on a lot of these budget earbuds. Occasionally, if you're listening to uncompressed audio or if you're paying really close attention, you might notice that the mids are a little bit distorted or don't sound quite right, but overall the average person probably will never really notice. ANC does a good job as well. Earbuds aren't going to be a substitute for a good set of over-the-ear headphones when it comes to noise cancellation, but when I do have it enabled with audio playback, I can notice quite a difference with things like background noise and key presses on my mechanical keyboard. I will say that for whatever reason, the audio quality does sound better with ANC on, so just something to be aware of. On calls, everything sounds clean on my end, and everyone that I've talked to can clearly understand me, and they are pretty effective in filtering out background noise as well. But when you are in areas that have a high amount of noise, it will distort your voice a touch trying to get rid of that noise. You could still clearly hear my voice on the other end, and for calls that's really all I'm going to worry about. The sound quality in general is great for casual use, and having an ANC option that works fairly well is a huge win. All of the audio is easily controlled and managed through the touch controls. As I said previously, these do have a touchpad on each bud with pretty standard behavior. A single tap on either bud will pause and play tracks. Double tapping cycles back and forth between tracks, whereas long pressing the left activates voice assistant, and long pressing the right toggles ANC. You can also customize the double tap and long press controls in the Padmate app, which is probably the weakest part of the system. First of all, it is great to have a companion app where you do have this level of customization. You usually don't find that a lot when you're moving outside name brands, especially in the sub $100 market, but the app itself is a little bit rough around the edges. If you tuned into the last Padmate review that I did, you'll know that I said something similar then, and I think that they have actually made quite a few improvements to the app UI, but I do find that the shortcomings are mostly to do with the translations. You kind of have to read between the lines a little bit in terms of what everything means, but if you can put that aside, they do still have a lot of great stuff in here. There are a few different EQ options, which I've just left to the default pop setting. There is a normal option in there, which you think would be the default, but anyways, that profile is quite flat. I'm not really a fan of any of the other ones, so I've just kept it on pop as I do think it gives off the best sound. You've got latency options in there, firmware updates, and those control customizations, which are probably the most confusing part with the translation issues. You do have to think about what's being displayed in here and fool around with the earbuds a bit to get this right, which is not something that you want to have to do with software. Hopefully they can hire a translator or someone to go through the app and just clean that up a little bit. The app also does have a battery life indicator for each bud, which is really handy. I often find myself using stuff like this when I have a whole bunch of calls lined up and I'm in between them and I just need to see if I have enough power to get through the next call or not, or if they need to be charged for a while. Speaking of the battery, I found these to be good for around 5 or 6 hours on a single charge, which is pretty standard for a set of ANC buds. And with a case, you get around 24 hours or so, so nothing out of this world, but I would say pretty standard and acceptable. You can charge the case either with USB-C or wirelessly, which is a huge bonus. I would charge everything wirelessly if I could, and not having this is kind of a drag sometimes, especially if you've got a bunch of devices that you use every day. It's so easy just to accumulate a mess of cords on your desk, so that's definitely something that I look for in my earbuds as almost a must-have at this stage. All in all, I don't think that you're buying these because they do one particular thing amazing. The main benefit of picking these up is you get a ton of features that you'd otherwise have to spend a lot more if you were looking at more well-known brands or even budget brands in big box stores. You've got ANC, wireless charging, Bluetooth 5.2 with great range, and for casual use, the sound quality is just fine. If you're looking for premium audio quality, you're likely going to look at brand names that do cost a lot more, and I don't think that that's what these are trying to be. The app for me is really the only thing that hinders the experience with them, and if you're okay with the language issues that come with these, you're likely going to have a lot more features than you would out of a similar priced set of earbuds. Personally, having a few sets of Padmate products in the past, I can see a definite improvement in an effort to distinguish themselves a little bit from other brands in the space. I am going to be checking out something else from them soon that looks kind of wild, so keep your eyes peeled for that video in a few weeks' time. If you are interested in the Z1s, I will drop the link to the Padmate site where you can check them out. And please leave a comment down below if you found a set of earbuds that you love that maybe not everyone else knows about. Like I said, this is a pretty crowded space, so it's always really cool to hear from folks that have found things that they like or that perform really well. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It really does help me out a lot. And if you want to see more tech-related content, whether it be reviews, behind-the-scenes stuff, tutorials, and so on, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.